The war had been over for 3 years when Commander Ethan Drake received the most absurd proposal of his career. He sat in the briefing room of Orbital Station Kepler, surrounded by representatives from a dozen allied species. The Valorians with their crystalline skin, the hulking Goroth delegates, even a pair of ethereal whispers whose forms barely held cohesion in normal atmosphere. All of them waited while Ambassador Lyra of the Centauri Accord made her case. The human military doctrine, she said, her voice carrying that musical quality her people were known for, should be paired with Tharn tactical philosophy for the upcoming joint operations in the outer reaches. Ethan didn't mean to laugh. It just escaped him, sharp and dismissive. The room fell silent. "Ambassador," he said, composing himself, "with all due respect, the Tharn lost every major engagement in the last war until we arrived. Their tactical philosophy involves ritual challenges and honor duels. We're talking about pirate suppression in hostile territory, not a poetry reading." Lyra's luminous eyes regarded him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "You misunderstand their approach, Commander, as you misunderstand many things." "I understand results," Ethan replied. "Human forces have a 94% success rate in combat operations. The Tharn forces have 61%. The numbers speak clearly." "Numbers without context are merely noise," Lyra said softly. Then she did something unexpected. She smiled. "I propose a demonstration. Send your best tactical team on a training exercise. I will send Tharn forces to the same scenario. We shall see whose philosophy proves superior." Ethan should have recognized the trap. Later, he would realize that Lyra knew exactly what she was doing, knew exactly how human pride worked, how it could be leveraged and turned. But in that moment, with a dozen species watching, he couldn't back down. "Agreed," he said. 1 week from today. Simulation Grid 17. The exercise was simple on paper. 2 teams would infiltrate a mock enemy stronghold, retrieve sensitive data, and extract without casualties. Standard special operations material. Ethan selected his finest unit, Team Razor, led by Captain Brooks, a woman who had survived the Battle of Proxima and earned 3 Valor citations. The Tharn sent someone named Kale, just Kale. 1. Warrior.Ethan watched from the observation deck as the simulation began. Team Razor moved with practiced precision, 6 operators advancing in textbook formation. Their equipment represented the pinnacle of human engineering: adaptive camouflage, plasma rifles, neural-linked tactical displays. Kale walked through the front entrance. "Is their feed malfunctioning?" Ethan asked the technician. "No, sir. That's what she's actually doing." Ethan focused on the Tharn warrior. The species was humanoid, taller and more slender than baseline humans, with skin that seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it. Kale wore minimal armor, carried what looked like a simple blade, and moved with the unhurried pace of someone taking a morning stroll. Team Razor reached the data core in 14 minutes. Efficient, professional, exactly as trained. They secured the objective and began their extraction. Then alarms screamed throughout the facility. "What happened?" Ethan demanded. "The Tharn warrior triggered the primary defense grid," the technician reported. "Deliberately, from what I can tell." On screen, Kale stood in the facility's central atrium as automated defenses emerged from every surface. Turrets, drones, security constructs. Enough firepower to level a city block. They all focused on her dot, and she began to dance. There was no other word for it. Kale moved through the storm of weapons fire like water flowing between stones. Her blade flickered, not cutting, but deflecting, redirecting energy blasts back toward their sources. When a heavy drone tried to pin her position, she used its own momentum to send it crashing into a support pillar. Team Razor, moving toward the exit, found their path blocked by security forces drawn away from other sections. Forces that should have been protecting the routes, but were instead converging on the chaos Kale had created in the atrium. "She's clearing their path," Lyra said quietly. Ethan hadn't noticed her enter the observation deck. "She's getting herself killed," he countered. "Is she?" Kale wasn't killed. She dismantled the defense grid piece by piece, turning each element against the whole, creating cascading failures that rippled through the facility's systems. By the time Team Razor reached the extraction point, the entire security network had collapsed. Kale walked out the same entrance she'd used to enter, without the objective data, without a scratch on her .team. Razor's time, 38 minutes. Objective secured. Kale's time, 38 minutes. Facility neutralized. It was a draw, Ethan said, but the words felt hollow even as he spoke them. "Your team completed their mission by taking the efficient path," Lyra observed. Kale completed a different mission entirely. She removed a threat to everyone who might come after. "Tell me, Commander, which philosophy will serve better in the outer reaches, where pirates rebuild and return, where every station you leave intact becomes tomorrow's problem?" Ethan had no immediate answer. The demonstration should have ended there. Ethan could have accepted the results, acknowledged that perhaps Tharn methods had merit in specific contexts, and moved forward with the joint operation planning. That would have been the professional response. Instead, his pride chose a different path. He requested a second exercise. Direct combat, his best fighter against Kale. Hand to hand. No weapons beyond what the body provided. He told himself it was about understanding their capabilities. In truth, he wanted to prove that human strength still mattered. That raw power and training could overcome whatever philosophical advantages the Tharn claimed. Lieutenant Marcus Webb stepped into the training circle. 2 meters of muscle and combat experience, undefeated in 3 years of competitions. Webb had trained in 8 martial disciplines and held records in every category of physical assessment. Kale bowed to him. A gesture of respect. Webb charged. What followed lasted 17 seconds. Kale didn't block Webb's attacks so much as accept them, moving with each strike rather than against it, turning his momentum into paths that led nowhere. When she finally moved offensively, it was a single palm strike to Webb's center mass that sent him stumbling backward, breathless and defeated. Again, Webb gasped. They went again. And again. Each time the result was the same. Webb never landed a meaningful blow. Kale never seemed to exert any real effort. After the 5th match, Webb bowed to Kale and walked from the circle with whatever dignity he could maintain. Ethan found himself alone in his office that evening, reviewing footage of both exercises, trying to understand where his assumptions had failed. The Tharn didn't fight like humans. They didn't think like humans, but they were effective in ways his training hadn't prepared him to recognize. The door chimed. He almost ignored it, but something made him open it. Kale stood in the corridor, still wearing her training garments, utterly composed. "May I enter?" she asked. Her voice carried an accent he couldn't place. Vowels shaped by a mouth structured slightly differently than human anatomy. Ethan stepped aside. Kale moved to his desk, saw the tactical displays he'd been studying, and nodded slightly. "You are trying to understand," she said. "That is good. Many do not try." "Your methods are effective," Ethan admitted. "I was wrong to dismiss them." "You were wrong to think methods and philosophy are the same thing," Kale corrected gently. "Humans excel at direct solutions. You see problems and remove them with admirable efficiency. This is a profound strength. But the universe is not composed only of problems to be removed. Some challenges require harmony rather than conquest. Some enemies become allies when given the proper path. Some fights are won by making them unnecessary. Ethan gestured at the displays. Then why the combat demonstration? If harmony is your goal, why humiliate Webb? I did not humiliate him. I showed him what he could become. Cale's dark eyes met his. Your lieutenant is learning now, in his quarters seeking to understand what happened. Tomorrow he will request to train with me. In a month he will move differently, think differently. He will be stronger for having encountered what he could not defeat through strength alone. And me? Ethan asked. What am I supposed to learn? Cale moved to the viewport, looking out at the stars beyond the station. That you already know more than you think. Human tactical doctrine adapts, evolves, incorporates new elements faster than any species in the Accord. You defeated the Krill not through superior firepower, but by learning their patterns and adjusting your own. You won the war because you changed. We had better weapons. You had better willingness to change, Cale corrected. The Krill could not imagine an enemy who rewrote themselves with each engagement. That is your greatest strength, Commander. Not your weapons or your warriors. Your refusal to remain what you were. Ethan looked at her reflection in the viewport, seeing perhaps for the first time, not an alien with strange methods, but a warrior who understood something he was only beginning to grasp. Ambassador Lyra said we should pair our forces, he said slowly. Human adaptability with Tharn philosophy. Yes, she was right. Yes, Ethan turned from the viewport. I'll need to learn your methods. Really learn them, not just observe. Cale smiled, an expression that transformed her features. That is why I am here. Lyra said you would understand, eventually. She said Huma